Hi everyone, welcome to my Thursday night Hangouts. On Thursday night, I do Hangouts for real estate investors and do extensive training on how to be a real estate investor. Tonight, I have guests, so I have some special guests you're going to meet in just 1 minute. So first, I'll show you how you can find us each week here on my website, wisewealthuniversity.com/hangouts. If you register there for the Hangouts, you'll get a weekly reminder about our Hangouts, our trainings, our Q&A, and the guest speakers that I have. Another way you can find out about us is you can follow me on Twitter. I am at Pink Professor on Twitter. So let's go back to our guests. So tonight, I'm following in my series on finding, funding, fixing, and flipping. So we're in the third section of the series, and that's on fixing properties. So the last few weeks I've done some overviews on how to fix properties, and last week I did the 10 top ways to lose money on your rehab, and I gave you a list. So you can go back and look at that. I've also put together all these Hangouts on YouTube, and they're in a playlist. So if you want to look at all of those, you can review the past Hangouts by checking out the playlist on REI Hangouts, and that's at Wise Wealth University. That's my YouTube channel. So tonight I'm going to bring on my mystery guests, and I have two gentlemen with me tonight. What they've been doing is flipping properties in the Inland Empire as well as Phoenix. So a lot of you, if you're not from California, you're thinking, where's the Inland Empire? Well, the Inland Empire is between Riverside and San Bernardino. It's east of LA, north of San Diego County, and there's a large area there called the Inland Empire because it comprises several counties. So they've been doing a lot of flips in that area in the last several years, and they've also been doing a lot of flips in Phoenix. So they flip to retail buyers, and they also flip to landlords. So tonight they're going to share with us their secrets on how they flip properties, how they maintain their budget, how they budget for miscellaneous oops items that do happen, and they're going to share with us the difference between rehabbing in the Inland Empire or Southern California and what happens when you're in a less expensive area like Phoenix, and how that changes your whole budget and the type of people you hire to do the work. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Anthony Patrick and Richard Edrosolan, and they're going to tell us the name of their company, and I'll put them on the screen right now. Here we go.
Hi everybody, how are you doing? Are we on there?
Yes, you are. Welcome, guys.
Do we look as pretty as you?
Well, you're getting close. You know, you need some lipstick. You need some.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let me go get it. Okay. Hi everybody, my name is Anthony Patrick. I've been in real estate for 9 years now. You know what? Just to let you know, I started from the ground floor up, meaning I started as a handyman. So I put in the sinks, and I got bit by spiders, and I fell through roofs, and I've done everything. So I actually started from the ground floor up. I also became a home inspector during the boom, and you know, things started to fall, and what I did is I started investing. So I have 9 years experience under my belt, and one of my specialties, you always try to keep good people around you, and Rich is a great partner to have because we feed off each other, and that's very important in today's market. But I love rehabbing, and I run my own rehabs. And Rich, you want to say a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I've been in the business about 10 years. What I was doing, I was in the insurance business, and I really got bored with it, and I started taking a lot of seminars like everyone else does, and of course I spent a ton of money. Janice was one of my coaches, and from there I was following her and doing rehabs and REOs, and then from there I just kept on plugging away, and I started putting money together, and I started at the auction, buying at the trustee sale. Then from there I did some things in Thousand Oaks, Simi Valley, in that area. And then from there, when the market tanked, Anthony took care of Inland Empire. I jumped over into Phoenix. At that time, Phoenix completely collapsed, and that's when they were just giving houses away. So I thought that would be a great opportunity, and that's where I spent the last 4 years of my time. Now I'm back in California.
Oh, excellent. That's a great introduction. And I was going to ask you why we should listen to you, but I think you've already told us that. But
well, you know what? Also, too, Jan, it's just why they shouldn't listen to it, to each his own. But just alone last year, myself personally, my rehabs, I did 37 with my team that I have, because it's, I believe in rehabbing and doing this business, you need a team. So with my team of realtors and Richard, myself, we're doing hundreds of flips a year. But just myself in the Inland Empire was 37. So that's just something to throw out there. Between both of us, probably in the last 9 years, we're in the 1,000 plus? 1,000 plus easy.
And that 1,000 comprises of wholesaling, rehabbing, and we bought it at trustee sales, letter campaigns, probate, fire sale. In fact, Janice and I did we purchased a house on from an insurance adjuster that gave us a good deal. We bought it and we fixed it. That was my first house that I did, and I learned a lot. And then from there, that was a niche that no one would touch, and we wound up getting the cost down to where now it's a really lucrative thing to do.
Well, I can tell I know you guys pretty well, because I was just going to ask you, since you told us about your business, I was going to say, just give us some numbers. And Anthony jumped right in. He must have read my mind and gave us the numbers I wanted. So that's what I thought you were going to talk about. So that's excellent, excellent. So we'll jump right in now to fixing. I'm going to stay focused on how we fix houses. So I'm going to ask you, what type of remodels do you focus on? And then you can also throw in what's kind of your average total remodel cost. And if Anthony can go first and talk about that, and then Richard will give us a little contrast of how he does that in Phoenix. So,
well, as you know as well as I do, the market changed. Before, back years ago, the market would change every 3 or 4 months, and you could pretty much go with the blow and goes. What I mean a blow and go means paint, carpet, a granite, and tile, pretty much. As the market seems like it changes, price ranges change and things of that nature in Southern California, especially in the Inland Empire. And not saying I don't deals in we're talking about San Diego, and also doing deals in Los Angeles area. I try to stay in somewhere close to San Gabriel. If people are familiar with that area, that's probably 30 minutes out of LA. What we're looking at is, at this time, I'll do every deal, and pretty much, Richard, both our philosophy is if it makes sense. So we'll even take a 2-bedroom, and maybe it's 1,200 square feet with a nice patio, and it turning into a 1,500 or 1,600 square foot. That'll take longer, and you got to remember, everything's permits. People don't realize, but the cities are driving around, especially today, and they are working on Sundays, because I have friends in the industry. And pulling permits take a little bit longer, because cities out where I am, especially San Bernardino, as you know as well as I do, it's broke. So they were thinking about filing bankruptcy, things of that nature. So they're trying to, before, where there used to be 10 guys in code enforcement and 10 guys in city inspectors, there are 2. So you have 2 of each, and they're going around and checking permits, and they'll close you down. So people, just one of the things, if they're going to learn anything today, make sure you pull your permits, because they'll stop your job and charge you $1,000 a day. I know I went off the circuit there, but I love teaching.
No,
but in other words, for your answer, I will do all. I'll turn 2 bedrooms, 1 bath into 3 2s. I will. So that can be a 50 to 60,000. So my range is probably the average in mine, where we're like 30 to 50. So 30 to 50 right now, $30 to $50,000. Ranges, and but we still want to make a nice profit. So usually if we spend 30, we might make 40. If we spend 30, we might make 30. If we spend 50, we'll make 50. I'm not, maybe some people will teach it, but I'm not in the going to spend $50,000 on a rehab just to make $20,000. That's not what I'm in the business for, because if I do that, you got to be careful with the numbers today. What are you doing in Arizona? We're pretty much.
For me, when I first started, I was doing single family, and I was doing roughly from about 800 square foot to about under 1,500 square foot. Once I mastered that and really got very comfortable with it, at that point, then I started going into apartments. I started with a 4-plex, I mean, like I saw what happens. I bought a 9-unit apartment complex for $50,000, and it needed about $100,000 worth of rehab.
Woo.
And, but it's a 9-plex. It made a lot of money. And before I got there, you had to start somewhere. So I wound up learning all my costs, and I learned how to save money, and I established all my subcontractors. Now, a lot of things I do, I don't use a general contractor because I know how to build a house. I know a lot of the codes, so I save money. I don't put a surcharge on all my fix and flips. So it's a little bit more labor intensive, but you know, I like to see what I'm doing, and I usually hire people that are pretty good at what they do. So it doesn't really demand me to be micromanaging them, but it works. So I will not pass. If I see a good deal, it doesn't matter. If I see a 40-unit apartment building, I will go for it because it's all about the cost. It's a bunch of little houses in one area. So that's kind of how I look at it.
With one roof.
That's right. Yes. That's right. So it doesn't matter to me what I go after. I mean, they all need doors. They all need appliances. They all need kitchen. It's the same thing. It's just the plumbing and electrical. Once you get past that, the rest is cosmetic. So for me, if I see a deal that makes sense, I'm going to do it.
Great, great.
And there has to be profit in it.
Excellent. So I'm going to tell you a little bit. I'm going to contrast that with what some of the deals we're doing in Sacramento. While I do that, I'm on screen, you're off screen. Maybe Anthony can put up your company name so that if people join us and they didn't hear the introduction, they'll see you guys' names and your company. So if you can do that while I'm on screen, that'd be great.
Alrighty.
We're doing some flips up in Sacramento, and our price range up there, we'll buy things anywhere from $80 to maybe $150, and then we sell those, like the one we bought for $80 or $90, we'd sell for $180, and the ones we bought for $150, we're selling for $225 to $250. So in the lower range. But then we're also doing the larger one, like you mentioned, where it's a downtown location. It's, you know, the houses are upgraded very nicely, and we're adding 490 square feet to that house. We're not adding 500, because at 500 square feet you get a lot higher fees on your permit because they figure you're adding more people. And we're not adding more people. We're making a master bedroom with a master bath, and then we're making the kitchen bigger. So we're not adding more people to the house. So we tried to stay under that limit. It was going to add another 10, 15 grand to our permits if we went that far. So that one we bought probably for $330, I think, and we're putting in about $100,000. It should be worth around over $500 when we're done. But those do take longer because we just got inspected for the foundation. Now, after we finish the framing, we'll get inspected for that. And then, since it's an older home, we're tearing off all the plaster and lath and putting in drywall and new electric, new plumbing. So it's about a 6-month project, but there's more profit in it. So, you know, it's good to start on the easy ones and then move into things a little more complicated as you get experience. So I'm really glad, you know, you guys shared that. So do you have up, just have it ready, your lower third and tagline, and then I'll switch back to you guys.
Do you see? It's up right now. Do you see?
Okay. All right. I'm going to switch over to you. So, oh, excellent. That's your website.
Yeah, our company's New Harvest Ventures LLC. I don't know if this means anything or what have you, but Richard and I are keen on giving back and to society. So that if you look at the logo, New Harvest is we always give back. And I know your daughter was playing softball at one time, but we're big on giving back to boys baseball and different organizations. And a lot of people want, well, why do you do things for? What do you have a goal? Hey, Richard has a daughter he does a lot of things for, and you know, wants to make her have some, you know, when she grows up to be able to, you know, today's I should say in today's society we really want to instill values in our kids, and I feel like she's one of my kids, and at the end of the day we want to get her rentals and understand the business too. But we always want to give back, so that's why if you see at the where the house is on the left-hand corner, it says New Harvest Ventures, and it's a harvest. And if we can give back on every deal, what do we give back? 10 to 15%? 10 to 15% on every deal we close, we give back to the needy, homeless. Just recently, we just gave back to the people in the LA mission. We gave them a check for some money there. To help each other, so that's our company's logo, and we give back. That's what it is, and I think that's why we're very that's why I know we're very successful.
Correct.
Excellent, excellent. All right, thanks. So when you come back on screen, put on your lower third there from the Hangout toolbox, and I'll jump right. While you work on that, I'll ask Richard to answer the next question. So Richard, how do you estimate your costs and calculate the budgets when we're doing a house? I know you've done so many in Phoenix that you probably don't even think about it anymore, but if you had to think about it, what would you do?
I get a fire damaged house. I already know. A fire damaged house, if I have to complain, we're talking about a 1,300 square foot home to replace the trusses, do the roof, everything, fascia, $10K. I already know what it costs.
$10K in Phoenix. Wow.
$10K. If I have to do plumbing, rough, $1,300, not including material. If I had to restucco the whole house around, it's $1,500. If I had to put a garage, it's about $800. Electrical, it's cost me $2,200. That's panel, everything brand new. So I'm looking at about $20,000. And that's because what happens is that I used to pay more, but as I got to know the people in the area, I picked the people that gave me the best price, and what I did is I gave them consistent work. So whether you're looking for property or you're doing rehab, you have to have a relationship. So I'm from the old school that you reward the people. When we close deals, we give them extra money. So we really engage the people, and we give back to them, and they give back to us. So we try to promote goodwill, but also we pay them punctual. So we don't sit and haggle the price. They know that if they don't do the work, they're gone. And they've seen me. I've fired people on the job sites. A couple of weeks later, they would come back, and I just say, you know what? This is what I expect. If I get anything less than that, you're gone. So it's a process that you go through. I know you go through it in Sacramento because you're basically rehabbing away from you. You have feet on the ground. Anthony is here watching his product. I'm pretty much in different states doing different things for different people, whether it's rental portfolio or myself. So the cost is pretty much the same whether it's in Sacramento. A door costs the same in Sacramento. It does in Inland Empire as it does in Texas, where I've done deals, as in Georgia, where I've done deals, as in Arizona, where I've done. A door is a door. The only thing that's going to change is the labor cost.
And you got to remember something too. We keep a lot, Richard and myself. We don't sleep, but like last year rehabs alone went up 4.2%. Now you got to remember something. At Home Depot, how much is a 6-panel door? Well, 6-panel door, the full door was $67. Now it's $70. Okay, so I can show you. We'll go over some stuff later on down here. But again, with Richard, he's so right. I don't know if any of you guys seen the movie Mr. Deeds, where the butler just appears out of nowhere. Well, that's the same way I'm at my rehabs. I'm appearing, but I'm appearing with chicken. Here, guys, here's pizza. I'll call my guy, contractor. Hey, what time you guys break into lunch? 12 o'clock. I'll bring them all food. The reason I do that is because that little outlet that needs to be changed, and they want to upcharge me, do a change order on that, they'll do it for free. You know what I mean? One of the things that I do out here is once I've gone to the house, I've checked the house out, and I'm saying, hey, this rehab's $30,000. Well, I have my 7-day due diligence. On that 7-day, I will meet my HVAC guy there, which is air conditioning, heating, air. I'll meet my termite guy there. I'll meet my contractor, my electrician, and my flooring guy there. I'll meet the whole team there. And then I'll make sure my guys, and then my roofer too. My roofer will go on the roof, check it, because you got to remember, FHA is getting a little strict into borrow and stuff like that. Even though they're starting to borrow, FHA is coming on real strong and saying, you have to fix this. It's like, you need a roof cert. a permit. I mean, certification. Secondly, what I'm noticing too, the houses that we're buying, they're a little bit more extensive damage. I'm having my electrician go inside the attic to check, because just live and learn. Lucky my spread was pretty good, but he went up there after I purchased the house, and there was was it 1,800, 2,000 worth of damage because the rats went through it and stuff like that. So I make sure my whole team's there. We put our numbers together, and I'll say, "Will it work, guys?" Yes, and we're on. So I feel more as in Southern California, and you're going to agree with this too, and Richard will too. The numbers are tightening up, so you got to run that rehab. And one of the things that I give myself a leeway, but anywhere from 10 to 12%. So if the rehab's $50,000, I'll give myself 10 to 12% over costs. A lot of times for you beginners, give yourself 15%. Maybe you got a little bit more. So that's one of the things I do. And what makes it easier for me and Richard, our rehabs are cookie cutter. So this tile could go into the next house. This granite could go into the next house. This paint could go into the next house. The only thing that's most likely different, is different, is the color of the exterior of the house, because you got to match the block. You know, you have a bunch of brown houses and you just put a gray house in the block. It doesn't match. And one thing I've learned, if the neighbor's painting their house across the street, don't tell them the color you're going to paint your house, because they'll paint the house that color. That happened to us last time. I said, I painted a nice brown, blah, blah, blah. The next week I come and they're like, that's my color. So I had to change my color of my house. But that's just one of the, I could tell you guys stories and stories afterwards. But everything's cookie cutter unless we go into the houses above the 700,000. Now you're changing the granite a little bit and fixtures and stuff like that. So we have a system in place. I can hey Richard, here's all my stuff. You can have it for that house over there. One thing we're really Home Depot does, especially Home Depot in Rialto Rancho, they might call me and say, Anthony, I have a pallet of some broken lights. 40% of the stuff's broken on there, but you can have it for $150. Just come and get the pallet. Have your boy come and pick it up. No problem. I'll pay for it. I'll pay for it and stuff like that. And then a lot of that stuff we'll put it in our warehouse and we can use for the next job. And we still can, if you rob Peter to pay Paul on these boxes, you have it. It's beneficial to you too, and especially discounted tile that we'll use too. We don't, but it still looks good on all our jobs.
For me, I don't waste my time. I'm about speed. I get it in, get it out, because I figured if I put it together, it doesn't work. I got to spend time. I'm not doing that. You're only talking lights of $9. So like you get it for $6. It's like that doesn't make sense for me. But I'm doing a different type of rehab. Right.
Yeah, yours is a different price range, but I will agree with what Anthony said. The last 2 houses we sold in Sacramento, we were required to get a roof certification. So now we just get the whole home warranty and it's covered, but our roof guy has to certify it.
You're correct. In going with Richard, and Richard's about speed and stuff like that, but again, I'm blessed to have some of these. I have some students that come out here and work for me, and their dad lets them, go look what Anthony does and stuff. So they I'm fortunate we have some young kids going to Alabama that are 18 years old or going to UCLA or what have you, but they want them to understand the concept of working and understanding a little bit of the real estate. So I might send them, hey, go fix this whole pallet for me and put everything together, make sure it works. So I do get some work done for free. So out there it's too hot. Those guys don't want to go out where Richard is sometimes.
No, exactly. So now that you told me a little bit about your costs and your budget, how do you estimate and calculate that before you say you go look at a house? How do you quickly calculate what it's going to cost you?
Again, Richard and I were talking about the other day. We remember when we used to take a sheet and pretty much, here you go. This is going to be 25. These doors right here are going to be 300, 400, and we do have a sheet that we give to our students that work really well because we do mentoring. But at the end of the day, Richard and I could pinpoint it we're like 95% dead on. I can go into a house, get in there for 15 minutes. If the roof is bad, I'll add an additional extra. So my roof for a 1,200 square foot home, compared to yours is how much?
$3,000.
His is $3,000. Mine, with permits and everything, and just in case some of the woods damages stuff, I'm looking at 67 compared to others at 12, 13. So
Right.
you got to remember something. The more work you give to contractors and the more work you give to a team, the better prices. So if I said, hey, Jan, here, you have 6 deals going at one time, run it. I'm running everything, helping you out. My prices are better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bring the price, because you know what? You have enough work. A lot of my guys just work for me and myself and my team and Richard, so they constantly have work. So they're not going to be overcharging me because they're worried about the next month. They're already scheduled the whole year out, ready to go and where they're going to be. And I hate to say this, but our guys, if we had houses in Texas, they would drive out there. And if I had like 6 or 7 homes, they'd take the whole team out there, their cars, and drive out there. And we'd put them up in a hotel until one of the houses are done. Then we'd let them stay at the house initially, and then they would. That's how they would do it. We've built a relationship of years and years and years, and that's our experience that we have, and we'll get better prices. So again, for all of you that are listening and saying, "Well, I can't believe they get their prices," well, you got to remember something. We've done volume, and that's just one of the things that that works in our favor right now.
I mean, I'll give you a good example. In Phoenix, I get people to work for $100 a day, period. So if I have them do a project, because I know you're not going to get that in California. I know you're not going to get that in Texas. And when I say 100 a day, that means it could mean 12-hour day. That's just the way it is. But it costs less in Phoenix. Property taxes are less. Gas is less in California.
Rent's less.
Are less. It just costs less. And the thing about Phoenix, there's nothing to do there. Except for like a cactus.
Except work inside.
Unless you look at the Super Bowl. But other than that, there's really nothing to do. In California, it just costs more to operate here. So we're able to do things more cost effective there. You don't have the same appreciation as you have here, but you go there for a specific reason. And then if you go to Texas, you're not going to get anyone at Home Depot. The starting at Home Depot is labor is $150 a day, and that's 8 hours only, and that's if it's not hot. So you'll spend up to $200 a day just for general labor. So everything changes. In Sacramento, I'm sure it's the cost there. It fluctuates, $120, $140. Inland, I don't know what it costs here. But see, I kind of use day laborers because a lot of times if I have a push to do something and I'm there directing, I always have a key person doing things and they direct. I want this. I mean, move gravel here. You don't really need someone with a PhD to move things around, right, Dennis?
Right.
He says, put the rocks over there. Got it? Got it. Okay, shovel, you're done.
Yeah.
So it's a whole different dynamics over there.
And you know what? And Richard probably does it too. I know he does because we're both on the same page. We give incentives. Excuse me. If the house is, I hate saying that's just one of the things. Anyways, the incentives are, hey guys, every day that you finish, we'll give you $200 a day if you finish ahead of the game. So let's just say you finish 5 days ahead of the game. Hey, you're going to get some good pot money. But every day you finish after the job, if there's no change orders that I've done, it's $100. Deal or no deal.
Right,
deal.
right.
You know what? So they'll finish up, and right now it's like 56% that they win, and we got the other 44%. So it's a great thing, and you know what? You got to remember. A lot of downfalls from people is they don't check on their jobs. I'm there every 2 days, or one of my students is there because they're usually in that deal with me. So one of my students, we're always taking pictures, so we're always on top of them. You know what I mean? They need to be at a certain week. They need to be here. The remodel has to be here, and that's how they get paid and stuff like that.
Yeah, and one of the things, like when you hire your own people, a lot of times they will go to Home Depot and they'll order stuff. Well, what happens if I always have them read what they're going to give me, and then I pay with my credit card. They go there. I'm not going to stand in line. I'm just not going to. So they go to the pro desk. Everything is there. And then what happens, I have the invoice emailed to me, and I scan it real quick because a lot of times, a lot of the people, they'll buy nachos, a screw gun,
Yes.
material,
Other tools, I know.
and
Yeah.
all of a sudden, it's gone. And so a lot of the people in Arizona don't have their own tools, so they try to sneak it in the bill. So this is the leakage that happens when you do it my way. Whereas a general contractor is going to charge you 10 to 15% over for his cost, and then he's going to put a surcharge on the material because he has to go to Home Depot, pick it up, which he should get. But sometimes people think too much of themselves and they pay themselves too much. They don't realize, not all real estate transaction is a pot of gold. Sometimes the margins are so thin that you make a mistake, there's your profit. It's gone. You've done all that work for nothing. And as seasoned investors, we've been in those kind of situations where, oh my God, where did the profit go? Well, it went out the back door, or miscalculation. Things happen, but you try to make the best estimated guess. So when you get into those situations, what happens is you really pay attention to the costs and you really focus in, and that's what you have to do, especially now when margins are tighter, less inventory. You have to be right on with everything you do. Paint everything. Utilize every discount that you can get, every kind of savings. That's going to help you make profit to go to the next deal, so you can get volume and get momentum going to where you make a living out of it.
And I was trying to get on here right now. My luck, it didn't come in. But there are Home Depot apps that you can get online. I was trying to get online to show you right here. But you can actually track your orders, and it'll track each house. And we use a Home Depot credit card, so it's really good for accounting at the end of the year. I was trying to get on it right now, so I wasn't being rude. But it's one of the things, and an email comes to you, and you can actually see what they're buying, and you can say, what's the SKU number? Hey, they bought a tool on me. So you can call them out on it, because again, we're doing a lot of owner build. And don't forget, we do have the contractors that run, so we have so many jobs, hey, this job's too tight. Hey, Richard, I'm going to run this job, okay? This job isn't that tight. We can let Miguel, or we can let Steve run this job for us. That's no problem. We can, they can do it. We'll pay them accordingly. So it depends what job it is and how tight the budget is, where we can say, hey, this contractor A can run it, or C and D I'll run. Richard, you're going to run B because it's closer to you. So luckily we have that team set, so we know, again, because some of our right now, I don't know about you guys out in that area, but we went from last year, my average profit was probably $30,000 to $80,000 in profits. And then if I go down and narrow it, my average profit was $40,000. This year, with all the deals right now, my average profit is $22,000. So 22, 17, 14. But if you're doing many, it still counts. But we have to do that much more to make it for the numbers last year.
Right.
What are the,
let me before we go on to a next topic, let me jump in before I forget. I loved how you give incentive to your guys. I mean, that's a great incentive where they make a lot more if they finish fast.
Correct.
Than they lose if they go slow. I mean, that's just giving them a great incentive. It's very generous of you guys to do that. And I absolutely agree with the Home Depot. I always had a commercial card, and the commercial card, when your bill comes in, it shows you every single SKU and every single bill that they had, and then I asked them to put a project name of the name of the house, basically, so I could tell which house that stuff went to. And I did find many times that there were extra tools or things like that. And I had one manager, that I ended up getting rid of because a lot of the things that they bought actually were going into their house, not the houses we were rehabbing. So I'd find that out later because the sub that went with them to Home Depot actually told me that stuff wasn't going to our projects. So you learn a lot by getting that complete slip, either emailed to you or getting the Home Depot commercial card. And I looked up online just to see what they were going for right now. I think if your your credit score is somewhere between 650 and 700, you can get the card no problem. So that's an advantage to get that card if you can.
And just some helpful words of advice. Remember too, if they're going to Home Depot and they spend over $2,500, there's a bid room that goes to Atlanta, and the bid room is, what happens is they'll put all that number together, they'll send a bid to Atlanta, and usually sometimes, I would say a lot of the times they'll give you like 10% off of the total amount of number, and that's good for 7 days. Richard and I, because we spent so much at Home Depot, we're in the $1,000. So all we have to do is spend $1,000 and we're in the bid room. But in all reality, we're linked together. We're in the bid room all the time.
Right, so, right. We used to do that too, and we'd get maybe they have to deliver it all at once, and they deliver a whole pallet of stuff, and then as long as you add to it within those 7 days or return stuff in the 7 days, you get the 10%.
But one of the things you have to be careful about is, and again, this is just, I'm giving you this advice because everything I'm telling you has happened to us. I have a long, it's true, right, Janice? Everything that I'm telling you, don't do this because it's happened to me. A lot of times, us personally, me personally out here, I don't care where it is. ADT, I have a good rate with them, and pretty much they install everything for free for me, and it's, I think it's $49 a month for an alarm on the house.
Right.
Bottom line, at the end of the day, tools go in. I don't care. I shouldn't say I don't care, but it's their contractor's tools. So if things get stolen, that's on them. But my way of protecting my valuable stuff, just think, people, people stay home during the day and looking around in some of the neighborhoods. I would live in 90% of the neighborhoods I buy in. But you got to remember, if a house is empty and there's brand new stuff in it, it can get stolen, or I should say. Taken, or I don't even, however you want to use that word, but it does. And what happens is, if you bring $2,500 worth of stuff into a house, you can bring Home Depot, the ones I do, they'll let me take half, and then the guys can pick it up accordingly because I've done so much business. But a lot of us aren't blessed with that factor. They got to take everything, and they put everything in the garage. Well, you got to remember, that's a lot of stuff disappearing, lights and all that, and they can go to the swap meet and pretty much sell that stuff. So at the end of the day, I do put alarms on every one of my homes, because if you do that much volume and stuff's coming in that house, you got to remember, things can be taken. And again, what you say, watch your contractors, because that new light can go in their homes too. So it's happened. Exactly what you said has happened to me too. So
yeah,
and what you just said happened to us a couple weeks ago up in Sacramento. We had our appliances brought in. They weren't even out of the box. They've been delivered. They were going to be put in the next day, and so the new oven, and the microwave range was stolen. So now the house is listed. So we just explained to people that, it's going to be put in. We just didn't install it yet, and no one's even questioning that. But we're not going to install it till like the day before we close.
Janice,
that's what's going to happen.
What's really funny, mine happened 2 weeks ago on a Friday. My house is on the market. It's actually in escrow, and we had a side door alarm. And the ADT called me, you have a side door alarm. And it was at 8 o'clock at night. Well, I said, you know what, roll the cops, roll the police. So my wife and I take off. We get there. There's like 7 cops around the house. And sure enough, what they did is they got a brick and broke off the front doorknob. They took the Supra, the realtor's lock. What they did is they got the key. They went on the side to get in, and once they opened the door, the alarm went off.
Oh.
The key was left there. The Supra was destroyed. And just think, no alarm, everything would have been gone. I had an alarm. The cops cleared the house. We went back, and it only charged me to get the new locks and change everything was no more than $34. Now that's $34 accordingly. It would have cost me way more. You know what I mean? So again, and guess what? Ever since then, nothing, because people see like 6 cop cars there waiting for me to come up. It's unreal. So that's one of the things that I teach. We mentor on, hey, put an alarm and we'll give you the great deals, because again, if you would have had an alarm on that house, and you know what, you can put that in your budget and throw an alarm on there and pay for 6 months, and 90% of the people will keep that alarm. And you get a bonus of $50.
Well, and what we did was we put the alarm on. So we have an alarm on that house. I listened to my own advice, So we put an alarm on. I think it was ADT. And 2 nights ago, we were doing a hangout with just our team, because we do this so we can keep on the same page. Just a private hangout. And they said that the night before, someone had come over. So another tip is, give all the neighbors your phone number. So I guess my team up there got a call from several neighbors at the same time, and the police because of the alarm, and they all went over there, and the person had gone because they responded so fast. So they didn't get anything, but the alarm's good. But also now, the neighbors want the house to be fixed up because it's going to improve their property values. So whenever we buy a house, we always go meet the neighbors and say, if you know anyone who wants to move in, or a brother, cousin, friend who likes this street, let us know, but we're going to make this house better and your property values will go up. So
correct. And one more thing too, and people don't realize, and just everything we're teaching, it's happened. Remember, a lot of times on an open house, burglars come into the house. They might look like burglars come into the house to see what they have to steal. I hate to say it because we know it's happened. It's happened. Bottom line, at the end of the day, one of the guys, and Richard and I were involved in a deal in San Bernardino, and the house, we didn't have an alarm in it at the time. It got vandalized, but they caught the guy, and he was over, and he actually went through the house as a open house, and he ended up in jail and everything. He wrote us an apology. He said he was trying to steal the house stuff in the house for his kids. It's like, dude, you could have just came to the rehab and I would have gave you money. Don't make it, because you know what? Him stealing that copper that was worth maybe no more than $30 cost us. I think the bill is still embedded in my head, $2,700 more, and it had to be done because we were closing escrow the next day.
Yeah, it's the labor that costs you, not the materials.
Yes. Right.
Yeah. So and the funny part is, we just went over the same topic because we were talking about having an open house on this house because of the theft and everything, and they decided let's not do one unless there's two people, so you can actually make sure there's no 3 or 4 people wandering through the house while you're stuck talking to one person. So 2 people would have to be sitting the open house at once to kind of make have a really good look at who's coming through the house. So that was it came up.
One of the things, we teach realtors a lot because we have realtors in our mentoring. We learn from them too, just like you learn from your student, Janet. Yeah. They tell us the same thing's happening when they give an open house to, like, let's say your house, and there's like 3 or 4 people. Your computer might be gone. Your laptop might be gone.
Oh,
so
the realtor
watching that, yeah. So we're talking about a regular standard sale. So if it's happening at a standard sale, and your house is vacant. So we learn a lot from our title and escrow and our crew too. That things this is what's happening. The laptop's missing, and I'm sorry, that realtor's responsible for that. So.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, for me, a lot of times when we do rehabs in Phoenix, we don't turn on the power at all. I never turn on the power. We run everything by generators. So we were having a lot of problems, people breaking in and stealing copper. So what we did in Phoenix, we put PEX plastic. We don't use copper, we use PEX. So they jerk out one wall that's plastic, like there's no value there.
Right.
So what we did and it was a horrible thing, but what we did is we would hire dogs. We would hire the service to bring dogs at night
to stay there.
Wow. The problem is when it gets wet, the house dogs destroy, because we would get vicious dogs to do damage. The house, it was destroyed, and it was costing us about $60 a day. Because we finished the house, we were waiting for escrow, and we had to bring in dogs every night. We couldn't even get near the house ourselves. They want to watch it. We couldn't even get to it. We'd have to call the guy. And then one time, it's awful, but what happened, the guy's car broke down, and the dogs, we had to throw water in. We had to break the window to throw water in for the dogs. Never do that again. So we were trying to save money by figuring, dogs are no problem. It was a big problem for us, and we had to clean up everything, so I won't do that again. So, we're always trying different things to save money. And I think in California, it makes a lot of sense because of the value in California is so much. You buy a house for $300,000, you got $50,000 in it, you have to protect your investment. You just have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
In Arizona, what we do is I'll pay a laborer to sleep there, and I'll pay him like $30 a night to sleep in the house.
And out here, he's lucky. It's $100 a night out here.
So you know, we're always looking for ways to save money, and it's only because the material costs go up. So you have to offset that. You're always looking for ways to save dollars. You can find products out there cheaper than Home Depot. The problem is you're going to spend time to get it to and from. A lot of my material in Phoenix is delivered. What happens when you get to be a preferred account with Home Depot, not only do they give you the bid room or the pro desk price, but they also give you rebate on the back end.
That's correct.
So you can make $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 over and above, because when they buy product, they have a projection for the year, and they purchase things in the future, so they get a different discount. And what a lot of people don't realize is every year there's a big functions in different cities. The CEO comes in, they come in and says, how can we help you make more money? What can we do for you? So whether I'm in Georgia or Arizona, whatever what happens is they will deliver my product for free. I don't pay any delivery. I can call up, I need this, they will bring it to you right there. So that doesn't happen right away. You got to build to that. But those are the options that are there for a rehabber. And you can save money that way. You're going to pay a little bit more money, but what happens is the convenience, and they help you, you help them, and you kind of create this system, and you figure, okay, how can and you look for other ways to offset the costs. So that's what you have to do. I never go, only time I go to Lowe's is if we're going to do a much higher end house. Sure. Something above, let's say 250, you go to 300, they have better product there. It's more about a design center.
Right,
so,
right.
And if you go to the $1 million house, then you go to Melrose, or you go to the Blue Whale, and you buy things there different. You go to more Viking, Wolf, you just buy better product. But even then, we're always looking for a Wolf oven. Instead of paying $5,000, if we can get it for $3,000, we'll take it. So these are the kind of things. Each level that you buy has a different discipline, and in that we try to stay within that. You can't buy a GE stainless steel oven, a burner with an oven, and put it in a house that they've got an oven over here, a microwave over here. It's just you got
a bread warmer, a wine chest, right?
Yeah. So you can't do that. A lot of the houses that we do, like in Phoenix, there's no dishwasher. We don't even have to put a garbage disposal, because that's just the way it is over there.
Not standard, right?
Everything here, you got to have it. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So in a lot of ways, we remodel to that area. So a lot of things that we do is to that area. So you have to know when you walk to do a house, like the first things that we look at when we drive up to the house, the first thing we look at is the roof. So right off that, you can see that the eaves, now when they're rotted, then you know, okay, there's termite, there's plywood, there's roof, it's going to cost me this much. Then the next thing we look at, the windows, okay? And then Anthony will tell you a story about the windows, how you can really get hurt on that deal. Next thing we look at is the electrical panel. Is it upgraded? Like in Phoenix, a lot of it is aluminum wire, and a lot of it's 100 amp. You can't put a 220 washer and dryer or AC, so you're going to have to redo the whole house. So right off the bat, there's $2,000 off here. And someone going in says, oh, it's no big deal. I just do another breaker, and I can plug in the washer and dryer. It doesn't work that way. You have to know what's in the walls.
Well, and tell us what happens because of the aluminum wires all over Phoenix.
Oh, if it kinks, that's where a lot of the fires
that's how we got those deals, right? Tell us what.
Right. What happens, though, back then when the houses were done in the 50s, it was not designed for a computer, a microwave. So a lot of times you put the microwave in, the refrigerator shuts off. So all these things, it just arcs and it just catches on fire. Aluminum wire fires there are very prevalent because of the aluminum wire.
Right. Because when I first went out, I asked, why are there so many burnouts? And you told me it's the aluminum wiring. Whereas, I've invested in Detroit. There's a reason that, when I first got there, I was like, wow, there's so many burnouts. That's because squatters would break in the house and light a fire in the winter with wood to stay warm, and then the house would burn down. So that was a completely different reason.
You got to remember too, a lot of people, you know, because Richard and I teach a lot, and we're always in different seminars and hosting seminars. We hear so many stories of squatters. You know, you got to get in right away and have your guys there before that squatter gets in, because that's an eviction. You know what I mean? And that can even take longer. So I know we're talking about rehab, but these are just little food for thought. So I'm trying to throw out there for them. Right. Again, everything we've come out of my mouth in yours, Janice and Richard, has probably happened to us.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've had we do the same thing. Usually there's a younger guy on one of our crews who may be still living at home with mom, and he'd love to have his own place. So we do turn on the utilities, and as the owner, I pay the utilities so this guy can stay in the house right up until the day we close.
You know, I do that too a lot of times. That's a great word of advice. I do that too. So at the end of the day, it works out for us. You know what I mean? We do that. We do, definitely.
So, like for instance, on a condominium, when we do a condominium rehab, I'll just give you a good example. A kitchen in a condo, we can do it for $700. In a house, we can do it for $1,200. With granite, $900, and a house basically under $2,000. So a lot of times we know when we look at a condo, the most you'll ever spend on a condo is less than $5,000 to fix. We already know that because all it is inside. So we know that all you're gonna repair is appliances, plumbing, things in the wall, carpet, and tile. So we usually put apartment grade carpets in the bedrooms, and then every place else we use Home Depot tile, and we usually spend about 88 cents a foot, and we usually get the 18 inches, and we just lay it, and we don't go diagonal. We just lay it down, just like a deck of cards. It's faster for the speed.
Right, and the large, we found that with the travertine that was on sale at Home Depot for a while. The larger the tile, then the fewer grout lines, and the faster that tile gets laid.
Correct.
So.
And just to let you know, people know out there too, I just don't use Home Depot. I use Home Depot for what I need Home Depot for. I've built a business, and this is my business. So I try, you know, got to remember, every penny I save is every penny goes in my pocket. Because as you know as well as I do, who gets paid first? Everybody except us. We get paid 4 months later. And then we got to pay heavily taxes on everything. So at the end of the day, my tile and granite, my tile and my base boards and my crown molding come from X person, and then my granite and my let's see what else, my granite, and my sinks and my you know, certain, what do we have?
Appliances.
And my appliances come from different people too. So I have like 5 different vendors. You know, and that's what I've built. You know, I put together my carpet. I get it anywhere from $10 to $12. So where everyone's paying 15, you know, and it's really nice carpet. But you can remember, I buy in bulk. I have 3 different carpets in my, and again, my carpenters can take it and stuff like that. So, you know, my kitchen, my appliances, stainless steel Amana. You have a washer, you have a dishwasher, you have let's see, you have the dishwasher, you have the microwave, and then you also have the oven. That's $1,200. So that's cheap, and sometimes I can get it for $800. You know what I mean? So that's just one of the things we do.
Yeah. I think when we were doing the rehabs down here, you know, I'm in San Diego. We would have the windows. We would have the guy go up to LA County to a specific place that he went and got the windows, and they were cheaper than, you know, any place down here. And because that was such a large item, he was getting windows for a 1,200 square foot house, and he was paying maybe $1,600 for all the windows and bringing them down. We had a guy who his partner imported cabinets from China and the granite, so he would drive to LA and get all his supplies of all his cabinets and just bring them down here in one truck and put them in. So we found ways to get certain materials a little bit cheaper than Home Depot. But I really liked the tip you gave about once you do get to high volume, then you are going to get some sort of a rebate back from Home Depot, and that's something maybe the beginning people don't realize at first, but they need to source their materials, especially the larger items, from a specific thing. Like we would get all our HVAC from one guy who'd give us a discount.
And my blinds, I get them. I used to go through Home Depot and stuff like that, but they would just cut them wrong, and I always have problems. So I have a blind company come in, and they give me better value installed than Home Depot. They beat Home Depot by at least, I'm going to say, at least $400. You know, my average blind on homes are probably no more to install. Probably, and we're talking 12 to 1,400 to 1,500 or 1,600 square foot homes. I'm in the price range of probably no more than 600, 700, but they're better blinds. You know, they're nice, the nice wood blind, like the
faux blind, the faux wood. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, faux wood, and they look better. So you know, you got to remember we're bringing out value. So I
mean, a lot of people don't realize, like, when we were putting air conditioning, it would cost to put an AC in a house. It would cost us maybe $3,000, and we thought that was too much. So what happened? Yeah, no, but
well, the house was only worth $60, Anthony. So
that was then. Okay, but the thing is, what people don't realize is Home Depot has this massive catalog, and you can get anything high end from Home Depot, because they have a high-end store. So what happens if you have a good working relationship? Because normally when you do a pro account, they will assign you a kind of a manager to oversee your account. And what happens is you can buy all this high-end stuff through Home Depot, and you can run it through your account, get the discount on the pro desk, as well as get a back-end discount. And usually, on top of all that, there are REHAB clubs. In fact, we're probably going to do that, and we'll tell you about it. But if people belong to a REHAB club, they get an additional 2% plus the discount at the register, plus a rebate on the back end, anywhere from 8 to 10%. So you're looking at 10 to 12% back every year from the REHAB club to that, and all those things really add up. I mean, they're once it gets established, all you got to do, it ties into your credit card. So you use the same credit card, the same phone number. It gets tracked on the back end. So every quarter, here's what you bought, here's your check, and they deliver to you, which is nice, better than FedEx, because they just come with a smile.
And remember, everything you save on, you're not paying taxes on. So that's a good thing.
And for the first time, person that was going to do a rehab, you know, how to find a contractor. You know, I don't know one. I'm afraid to do it. But you know what? Where would you go? To Home Depot, the bid room. You would go to the service desk and say, who's your contractor out here that I can use? Okay, and they're going to recommend John or Bill or whoever, and once they give you a list, then you're going to say, well, can I see your last 3 jobs you've done too? Don't just take it from them. Just say, let me see the last 3 jobs. And I recommend people to pay like this. Say, look, I'll give you 25% up front, 50% when you're 3/4 done, and 25% when you're completely done and I have walked through and blue taped the house. Blue tape means you get it at Home Depot. I don't like this. Look at that fixture. It's not even put correctly, because people rush to get done. Look at this wall right here. I walk in and it looks horrible. Janice is going to call this out on you, because women pick out the house. Men, if you're listening to me right now, the woman picks out the house. Where do you go, sir? You go right in the garage. The woman goes right into the restrooms. They go into the master, and before anything, they look in the kitchen. So, right? Am I correct?
They go, the kitchen sells the house.
Happy wife, happy
life. Exactly.
I've learned, trust me. We're an old men now. We've learned, hey, you know what? She picks out the house. Richard, I do, but I put in my my high heel pumps, and I walk in that house, act like a woman, and says, you know what? She'll love this house. Our houses even smell good, really good. They smell like apple cinnamon. Every room. You know, ladies, and you know, right, when you open it, it smells like lemon. So at the end of the day, we make sure that house smells clean and not musky.
And I'll tell you, that is why we never show a house to someone, a retail buyer, before it's finished. Because if they ever saw the house in the condition we buy it in, they would, you know, I told this to one of my
Janice, I don't know if you can hear us, but we can't hear you. Something happened on our end. Am I muted?
There we
No,
go.
no, we hear you. I don't know. It came back.
Somehow it got muted.
Okay.
Probably my mouse moved around.
No, it was something here.
So let's talk about the contractors.
Yeah, let's do that.
Whenever I go out of state,
Okay.
I always go, like we were in Texas the last 6 months. We all automatically always go to Home Depot and we stand outside talking to the people that are coming out.
Okay.
And those people, a lot of times if you call somebody on the phone, they don't respond until the evening. Well, a lot of times as the people are coming out, we say, we have a house, give us a bid, meet us at 2 o'clock. They will literally leave their job site and give you a bid. So that's where you find all your contractors, and it's just, if you don't like them, go stand there the next day and just keep on getting the bid, because those are the people that are actually working, and you get to see, kind of judge the person if you want to deal with them, and that's really how you have to do it. And we do that in every state. We don't go to the yellow pages, or we don't go on the internet. We go to Home Depot and find the contractors there, and then from there you just cut your deal, and then they know that you're a player and they want business, and you just have bid. You don't like it, go to the next one, and they'll just keep on coming until you find the one, and that's how you find it. And then you certainly, with people you don't know, you got to allocate the funds a little bit to start. This is what we do. This is what I do. I always get 2 bids, one with material and one without material.
Okay.
That way I can see how much he marks it up. I can see what kind. So depending on how the bid comes, if I see him mark up the material, I don't want him, because that tells me he's going to give me for every minute he's on that job. So if he can separate this versus this, I'm not going to tell him the discount that I get at Home Depot. I'm not going to tell him anything. I just said, I want a punch list of everything. I give it to my pro desk. They literally put it on the pallet and it gets delivered to their site. So what happens, I would send somebody there and they would lay out all the material where it belongs, so you have your quality control. In his mind, you're after the labor. A lot of times I always get the bid both ways. So then what happens, I said, well, I'm going to get, because if you say, well, just give me the labor, most of the people really don't know how to quote it. So you get it one way, you make them spend time at Home Depot getting materials, because you give them the SKUs.
Oh, yeah.
Products that you want, and they have to go there and write it up. Then they put their surcharge on, then they put the labor. So when it's all said and done, I said, give it to me both ways. I look at labor, and I go from labor to labor. Okay, I'll do this. I'll provide the material. When can you start? And then that way, I would wind up having it delivered, because what Home Depot does for me is they warehouse the products. Even for instance, if we're going to buy 10 kitchens, like typically we can get kitchens from $800 to $1,100. Let's say we'll put an order of 25 kitchens. What a lot of people don't really know is that Home Depot will literally warehouse your material, not charge you anything, because they always have space, and you just give them a time and they deliver it all the time.
Perfect.
If you can do hot water heaters, same thing. So all that stuff will help you out. But one of the key factors in rehabbing is you're going to have to really have a timeline. So you get a product here, you have to know when this is going to get done and this gets delivered. Just keep on putting it down. What happens is that Home Depot, if you really become friends with the manager at Home Depot, they'll assign somebody to you. And what happens, Janice, is they're going to help you stay organized. And what happens if you don't know what to do, because most of the people know about construction, they'll sit and guide you. And if something comes up, because the Home Depot has a reputation, you can go to the manager and they'll take care of things right away. And if you over-order, take it back to Home Depot. They'll give you back the credit. Because what happens, a lot of people don't realize you waste a lot of product. Drywall, 2x4s, insulation, all that stuff adds up. Over a year, yeah, you might lose 300 here, but lose that 300 10 times, 20 times, it adds up. So that's just on one product. Then you got cement. I mean, there's so many other things. Cement, a lot of people don't know. You can get cement through Home Depot. they have so many tentacles out there. They have so many ancillary companies that they are involved in. One of the things that I do, for instance, a lot of people don't realize, but Home Depot usually buys roofing from a person in the area. If you can find the roofing company they deal with, you'll get Home Depot's discount.
Good.
So what I do in California, in Sylmar, there's a roofing company. The way you go buy roofing over there, it comes unbundled. It's not in a pretty stack. It comes open. Those are seconds. Well, the only reason it's the seconds, let's say one tile might have 1,000 granules, on the composition.
Yeah.
They boo-hoo. There's maybe an inch where there's no granules. That's a second. They can't sell that. So you get it at half the price. But you have to get it unbundled, and there's usually a line to get it because there's always seconds to everything. I mean, that's what you see in outlet centers. So if you realize, even stoves, there are stores out there that buy the second with the chip. It doesn't matter. A chip is a chip. I mean, if you're anal, I won't buy something with a chip, but I'm stupid. I pay not to have that chip. I'll pay the premium. Other people don't care. There it is, because there's only a front of a stove. The scratch and dent could be on the sides. You're never going to see. Correct. I worry about the sides.
And one thing
in your sleep, right?
I'm not that. That's a whole different story.
That's why I put things in before he comes. One thing for you beginners, don't always take the lowest contractor bid, because what they'll do is have many change orders. Do not work with the contractor to say, hey, what did the others bid you, and I'll beat it. Because 90% of the time, they're going to have a change order on you. Well, you know what? We didn't see this. Well, we didn't see this. And that rehab that went from $25,000 that you were quoted now has gone to 30, 35. You know what I mean? So be careful. The cheapest is always not better. Again, we've learned. I've learned. Everything I'm telling you, we've learned. For all, we've flipped over 1,000 houses plus. Everything that has gone wrong will go wrong. I'm telling you that today. But you know what? I love what we do. So
Janice, do you have for a lot of your students and your people on Google Plus, do you have a sheet? One of the things I would recommend someone to do is get a sheet of paper, bedroom 1, 2, and 3, and you write down electrical, scrape the ceiling, doors, and you literally have a blueprint of your own house. So you can create a checklist, like roof, take out popcorn, replace the doors. Do this,
I'm going to flip to it.
You have it?
Yeah,
I have something similar.
I have one that I showed maybe 2 weeks ago on one of the Hangouts. It's a one-pager with a lot of small print, but it helps you estimate the costs of that. But if you have one to show, I'd love to see yours too.
Let me see what I have.
mean, what happens, Janice, is that when you're flipping houses, there's so many moving parts that you sort of need something to keep you on track, like what are you going to do in the kitchen, garbage disposal, or this, that. So a lot of times what you do is when you get that list, that inspection report, you check off different things. You literally can give that to Home Depot, and they will literally give you a price of every single item there.
Okay,
and give it to you at the bid price. So what people starting out, they have to. So you're not out there being kind of like someone can take advantage of you. You said this room, bid the room based on what's here. So in it will be electrical plugs, baseboard, carpet, this and that, padding. So this room costs this much, this room costs this much, and you put it together. Then when it's all said and done, then you start negotiating the price and getting it down, because the bottom line, if they're putting baseboards, a baseboard in a 1,200 square foot house just take maybe a couple hours at the most. So if you pay the guy $20, that's $40, so $100 baseboard and all. So I was just saying, if you kind of have a blueprint and you live by that blueprint, the contractor is going to know you know what you're doing. But if you just shoot from the hips, they're going to get you every time because you're not going to remember. So that's what I said.
That would be one of your strategies to keep costs down. I know when we first started getting contractors to bid, they will either do a lump sum price, or they'll bid on all the painting together, or they'll bid on room by room. So I couldn't compare contractor bids because they each bid them in a different way. So what I came up with was a list of things the house has to have. I give that list to each contractor, and then they've got to fit their numbers into my list. That way I could compare between them what they
right. And you listen, and this is what can you see what I have on here? It's a property inspection form.
Well, you didn't. No, right now I just see your. You haven't opened the inspection form yet. I can just see your list of flash drive students.
Okay,
so you probably have to go to you have to go to a different window.
Okay, so right now I go to the. Okay, so we're on there right now. Am I correct? So
yeah, you're on. So just go to screen share and pick the right window where that thing was open.
Oh, I see. You know what? It won't be. I see what you're saying, but anyways, it won't come up because I see what you're saying. What's happening? But anyways, we do have something similar like that. But remember something. We give that out to our students, and I can email it to you. I'm sure you have something. Okay. But bottom line is, you can't. This is why because I was a handyman, so I know all the ins and outs. Mm-hmm. You tell them the reason they don't like to itemize because you'll pick and choose. Well, I want you to do this,
and they don't want you to.
And they don't want you to pick and choose. They want to do the whole job, so they're basing it on the whole job. And I'm going to tell you something: never, ever, ever, never say, "I'll catch you on the next one." You know what? Just fix that for me, and I'll catch you on the next one. You know what? That you're lying to them in their face, and they know that because I've been on that side. Just fix that light and take care of this, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Oh,
you're lying to me. Mm-hmm. So you know what? If you can fix this baseboard and do this stuff that they were supposed to fix, yes. But things they bring to your attention. Hey, look, the roof right here. This wasn't part. I'm going to charge you X amount. I'll catch you on the next one. Don't tell them you won't.
Right.
Negotiate right then. Tell you what. I'll pay you an extra. You want $300. It's not in my budget. I'll give you $150, $175.
Right.
Negotiate with them. No one likes. You know what? No one likes to get things done for. We like to get things done for free. They don't. They have a family to support, just like you do. All of us do. We're in the business because we love it. It's great. But you know what? They have a family support too. And a lot of times those contractors have 10 or 20 jobs going on at one time.
Yeah.
So just one of the things that you have to learn.
Yeah. So that's important in terms of hiring people. If you're not really hiring a general contractor, sometimes we hire someone just to do the tile or just to put in the kitchen cabinets and the granite. So and then someone else kind of does all the paint and the doors and the molding. So you have someone doing a very specific job. Then you can say, okay, I want these 2 bathrooms done completely. Then you can compare between the subs because they're going to tell you what it's going to cost to do that particular job.
Janice, right. Can you see my screen right now? It says Home Depot.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you can see the prices, right?
Yep.
Okay, so let's just say if you know it's like school. You know what I mean? Everyone, even me, I have Richard as a great mentor, I'm sure you have great mentors around you yourself, and you're a mentor. But the bottom line is you have to know your prices. A door, bed and bath, $10.97. How many do you need in that house? Your front doors. We use this front door right in here. It's sometimes we can get it at $4.99, $3.99. These are different door price values. What I'm trying to get at is, windows as you go through this, switches and stuff. You can go, you have, these are the switches, plates we use. They're a little bit more. A 10-pack is $5.67. There's other ones you can get them for cheaper, what have you. But the bottom line, what I'm trying to get at is you have to know your value. Well, how much is a front door? How much is a door? I got a question for you. You talk to your contractor as he's giving you prices. How much is this? How much to put all the lights in? We're approximately $1,000. Okay, so you're going to use the nickel. Let me see if I have them on here. The nickel lights, 2 in a pack. Those lights there are approximately $22, and I need 10 of them in my house. So you're charging me $100 each to put in each light. How much are your toilets? oh, the toilets are a good $150 per light. Well, this toilet right here that I use is $99. This one, you know. So what I'm trying to get at is if you know the values and you see what they're doing, you'll understand how much are these knobs. Well, the knobs are for a 10-pack. How much are you charging me the knobs for? So you're not nitpicking, or how much are the blinds? How much are this? You can pull it down, and if they're up, because a lot of times they won't get you on the labor, they'll get you on the, how much is this Glacier Bay single handle? Oh, that's $150. Well, aren't they $74?
Right. You know it.
If you're man to man with a contract or woman to man with it, whatever you are to the contract, and you know what you're talking about, they can't screw you. I hate to say it. You know, a water heater, $429 to haul it away is $100, and then to install it, I'll give them $150. Well, you're charging me $1,500 with straps and everything to put it in. Why?
That's crazy. Right.
So if you know your values, that's very important in today's market. Could you see this right here?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a lot of things right here. You can see check for fascia. This is what we show people. This is one of the tools that we give. Check for fascia. Check the condition. Check your area. Check for sidings. There's a lot of things that we show onto the house. Hey, look at the inside. How much is this going to cost? This is a lot of things that we give to our students and things to show. And then we also have, okay, what are the prices on it? So these are some of the things that, you know, this kitchen right here, you know, it's pretty much a gut. There's nothing you can save.
Right.
And you put in new rug, you know, people just like, oh, can we save the rug? No. Do you want to save the smell too?
The smell comes as a bonus.
I want to show you one of our projects, and you'll say, you know, what projects do you do? I'll go all the way. Let's see if we can. I don't know if you can how this pulls up, Janice. So I'm going to try this. Okay. So right there, let me see if this will come up, and you let me know. This is Granada. Okay, do you see these pictures right here? Can you let me know?
So open it up.
And it's taking its time right now to open up because I'm showing the pictures.
So let me tell you a story that maybe some of your viewers would listen. So I met a guy, and he told me, oh, I went in partners with a guy. I bought a house in the Fairfax, Wilshire district. I forgot the mall. That everyone goes there. And I said, oh, yeah, we paid $700,000 for the deal. We hired 2 guys. We paid cash for the house. We're going to rehab the house. I walked in, and I was curious, and I went to the guy, and I met this guy. Says, yeah, they needed help, so they're giving me 50% of the profit. So I went there to look at the house, and I was just curious. So I walked in, we were talking, and I just, oh, so-and-so sent me here. I want to see what you're doing. So I asked him, what's it going to cost you? He said, oh, it's going to cost us about $65,000. I said, well, what color are you going to do it? I don't know. What color is the stove? I don't know. So these guys were going to rehab a house and hopefully sell for like $1.3 million. They did not know anything. I looked at their windows. They had huge trees. I could see roots going underneath the foundation. And I was asking these guys all the things they didn't know. They literally gave the checkbook to
the contractor.
The contractor, and I'm going like, oh my God, you are really screwed. And I was looking at it, and these guys, you know, they're 2 SC grads. Parents have a lot of money. They're from a foreign country, and they figure, well, anybody, if we put the stuff there, it's going to happen. But a lot of people don't realize when you go into Los Angeles, everybody wants modern. You see a lot of these great old houses. You go inside. For the new people, they want it clean. They want it modern. And they were going to try to combine traditional with modern. And I go like, that doesn't work.
No.
And I said, you know, so I just shut my mouth, and I wasn't going to tell them their business. But it's really shocking to me when you buy a house, you want to take the house to as new as possible. When you walk in a house, you really want to make that house look like a model home inside. Or you have to remove walls. You have to do certain things. So there's a little creativity because you got to create the value within the footprint.
And one of the tricks I remember is if you leave anything old, it might look kind of new because maybe they replaced one thing that you want to keep. after you put everything new in, that thing looks really old and crappy.
Correct.
You kept. So you can't keep anything.
Let us show you one of our projects here. You can see now.
We're ready.
You can see this house right here is just ugly. It's just ugly. I mean, but bottom line is, you can't think that way. You got to know. You know, a lot of people say that I'm ugly, but you know,
no, you're not.
Okay, see, Richard thinks at least I'm
Your
cute.
wife loves you. Your dogs love you.
My dog stinks. But you can see where this house. Hey, you know what? To us, it's now. Remember something. I wish this was in like 4D or 3D because I'd give you like a. If you can use a cat urine, like if anyone has
scratch and sniff.
Scratch and sniff. This house smelled like cat urine. You know, and bottom.
I've been in one of those where everyone held their nose on the way through the house.
Well, you know what? What's so funny is, as you can see as I go through the slides here, my wife and I ended up closing, and she made us throw all our clothes away, and our shoes and everything.
It was that bad.
And you know what? This is the truth.
Yeah.
A teacher, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a nurse lived in this house, and I'm not lying. But wait, I'm not done. They just moved out this day right here.
You're kidding? A teacher and a nurse?
I promise. A nurse and a teacher.
That's terrible.
That looks like an Arizona house.
Now remember, Richard said something. Richard said something very, you know, hey, we remove walls. Remember something. There's a wall right here. Do you see? My, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but where that refrigerator, that was a wall right there.
Mm-hmm. Get rid of it, yeah.
But you know what, Richard? Smells like money to me, right?
It smells like money.
Everyone's afraid of this. I'm sorry, let's go back. Do you see why that's blurry right there?
Yeah.
Because I swear a rat ran across my leg, so I keep that picture. I'm not lying. I thought it was a cat. But I
thought your wife was pulling your elbow. Let's get out of here.
No, I am not lying. A little mouse or rat scared me. So you can, and I'm not lying. They lived like this.
Well, I mean, I've seen plenty of houses like that, but I didn't know who lived there before I bought it. You know, I assumed the worst.
Construction on this house. They just barely moved out this day when I took these photos.
But a teacher and a nurse, you'd expect a little better.
Yes. Look, this is how. Would you take a shower here?
Never.
Oh my God.
Never.
Wait.
Oh, I love. Oh, the duct tape. Did you see the duct tape on the wall?
Yes, right there. Did you see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, we did a few mobile homes, and they looked pretty bad. But this looks kind of like a mobile home where the shower stall is being held together by tape.
Yes, definitely. Look at the air conditioning. You think it worked?
Nope.
Okay, this is one of my guys. Now I'm going to come to you after the finished project if I can have it here. You see it?
Not yet.
It should be coming out.
Oh, beautiful.
Sod, plants, new windows. So the cats wouldn't have to come over here on my lawn. I put some cat litter in front of my house. I'm sorry.
That's
new
funny.
front door, you know. Granite. This is my signature.
Nice.
The black ubatuba on all my fireplaces. It's granite.
Mm-hmm.
Now look at that kitchen.
Beautiful. You took out a wall.
How much do you think that kitchen cost me? Appliances, granite, everything, tile, everything put together, lights, everything.
If we were doing it, 7.
Ooh, close. Now you know what? 5,400 total.
Okay.
Yeah, so that ain't that bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I was gonna say 5, but when we did them for 5, it wasn't including the stove, and so that's why I added a little more.
Put in everything, the lights. You remember this is a pack right here for like 25. They used to be 19. My stove here, and you can't see it right here, but right in here, that's where my dishwasher is. Yeah,
so we would get that package for like $1,500, but the cabinets and the granite would cost us around $5,400 without those items.
This house sold. Lucky it sold. But do you see anything that would make you mad?
I do. No, I see the you've got carpet in this hallway, and then it goes to tile, right?
Everything's fine. That's fine. But look at that cabinet that is above the other one.
Oh yeah, above the sink. Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like a cabinet that you would put a microwave underneath. Oh, and they had to move it up. Yeah.
Correct, but since it passed, I'm not going to remove anything. It's like, oh my God, and at the end of the day, it's like, you know what? It's sold. It is what it is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things too that we do, look, we put a new electrical panel.
Yeah.
Okay. Everything's permitted and have you, and then we added so they can put their washer and dryer in here, a little door so they close. So we have accordion doors that are the doors that close. The tile, those are 20-inch tiles. Now look at the restroom. All my houses, Richard's houses, are pretty much the same with the accent.
Yeah, my shower looks like that too.
Yeah. And now look at the shower. You know what I mean? So it's a different look. The garage, we made it into a little man cave. We painted all gray and stuff like that. We come and put a remote control, a garage door opener. We come back and put this house was pretty much brand new when we're done with it. Yeah. This wooden fence right here, we put it in, and we actually put it. The neighbors was ugly, so we came over and said, "Hey, do you mind if we give you a brand new wooden fence?" "Oh, no problem. It looks better in the front."
Right.
I go to the pictures. Cut down all the trees in the jungle. We had enough sod to go here, but this ended up turning green before we sold it. This is the fence that we put, and it goes all the way to theirs. So we put a fence to make theirs, because you don't want an ugly fence in a
no.
Like that. And then we put the fence up here. Nice fence looking. This is the fake rock I put, because right here is the sprinklers, the valves and everything, and it looks
right.
So we put that fake Home Depot rock there. And, that was pretty much the job. You can see ADT right there. And, oh, by the way, I put on the front door, "Hey, realtors, there's an alarm." Once they start showing the house, they're like, "Oh, here's a house. Let's walk right in."
Right.
And after like 3 or 4 times, the officers are going to start charging you to come to your house.
Right, because as soon as you put the sign up there, I mean, that's like advertising. "Hey, guys, great place to break into. We have a sign in front."
Correct. One of the things, too, that people don't realize, you're going to come to this, let me know when you came to the screen right here. Do you see the house now? Tell me when you see this house.
Yeah, I see it. Got it.
This house, this picture was on 11. This is just one of the things that I show people. You got to go outside the box. This house read 2-bedroom, 1 bath, 1,700 square feet. And it's like, wow, that's pretty big. So as my realtors go back, they'll say, "Anthony, it had a sunroom in there. This is actually look at it. It's sold for 3-bedroom, 1 bath back in the days." And so what we did is we did a little bit more research, and if you look through this house actually was a house in Upland. It's a beautiful neighborhood. It's right near the Lemon Fest. The reason I take pictures of everything, so I'd say, "Hey, I know my stuff was there, officer."
Right.
Steal things and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, this is a total gut house, but you got to be careful. This right here was called a sunroom, okay, which was permitted. So we made it actually into a bedroom, and it had a closet. It had a closet in it already.
Right.
And so at the end of the day, you can see it just needed upgrading. This right here, there was a master bedroom here, and then it went into another room. So we were thinking, why not make this room into a restroom? So now we have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, pull permits. It's easier to pull for a bathroom because everything is right here. You can see, and see how the room was here, 2 rooms?
Right.
So this room was pretty big itself. I make sure, all the appliance, and this was like a little sunroom out. So again, this is the house. And I'm going to go to show you what happened. These are just some of the things that you have to go outside the box to, hopefully you can see this as it comes.
We've done that with one that was maybe a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and a den. And it had a closet, so we just made the den into a bedroom. The only thing with the permits, though, we had to change the size of the window that's in the den for egress to meet the standards of today. Which is
a 25 by 34. Yep. You have to have one of those, because what's funny, I hate to say in today's, but you know what the guy said? It says, in California we have some obese people in the world. This is what the code enforcement and all these guys told me. And it's like, you know what? It used to be 19 at one time, but they have to be 25. But I think it's 25 by 34. You have to have one of those because it's an escape window for somebody to come out if their house was on fire.
Right.
So,
right.
It was funny the way he explained it to me. It is what it is. This fence we put up.
We're getting bigger. Yeah.
This fence we put up to make it look cleaner, as you can see. And then we added this here because because that way this room can go straight into a room, so they can go to the restroom instead of this room coming out. And and then we added windows, closed off some of the windows there. And you can see our house are pretty much the same color. Fixed it, shined it up a little. And this is the room we added, and actually we ended up, I didn't get a chance to because the house sold too fast, but we ended up adding glass right here, tempered glass, so it can look better.
So it can be a shower, yeah.
Correct. But the bottom line, yeah, it didn't get delivered, so it can be a shower, exactly. So these are just one of the projects that we've done, just one. This door, we should have changed it to the oval. Actually, I called a contractor out on it, and he ended up putting a different. Yeah, I left it, and I said, next time you owe me 2 oval doors now. But at the end of the day, you can see these beautiful best window. And a lot of times you're like, Anthony, they didn't even have blinds in this. Why would you put blinds in a beautiful house when you want? People love light. Let them put, you know what I mean? A lot of times I don't put my blinds in unless they ask. But if you have a beautiful house inside, well, let it show. You know what I mean? And then my thing is, too, is you can see all the nicks on the walls. Richard taught me that. You can see all the nicks on the walls. Don't ever do a blue tape session at night. Do it in the early morning where you can see every speck.
See everything. And you left the built-in cabinets. Those are nice.
You have to, because of the fact that you have to still go what's with the block. Go what's inside the houses are selling around you. See, you could only change so much, and don't forget your rehab. You're fixed in your numbers. You can't see. There it was. See how it came out?
Oh, nice. Yeah.
See how it came out? So I did get a picture finally in there. My wife listened.
How much did it cost you for that enclosure?
That enclosure right here was, if I go through my numbers, I have it. I believe it was $700, $750. It was expensive. It's because of the way.
It's plate glass.
Yeah. It was expensive. Sure. And you know what's weird, Janice? This house sold before it got on the market because what the guy did, believe it or not, he owns 7 houses on that block, and he caters for, and it's a nice neighborhood. He caters for the drug addictions, and he puts like 4 or 5 people in the house, and phenomenal money because they're citied. They phenomenal money. If I told you
the city pays them directly. It's a per person fee.
And if you really realize how much he made, but at the end of the day, that was just one of the things that he would do. And he bought, he has 7 houses on that block, and he does really well. But he made sure that house was nice for them. So I really respect that man, because he just said, hey, could you do this for us? Could you do this for us? And it's like, hey, at the end of the day, we ended up making $40,000 on that profit in and out, and it was sold before it got on the market. Our rehab ended up going from 32 to like 40. So it worked out and everything, but that's just a couple. I can go on forever to show you some of these rehabs that we have values.
Well, I hope the drug dealers don't go down that street and catch the guys when they decide to go off the wagon, because he'd have the whole street lined up,
Oh, no, definitely. I understand what you're saying there.
But he's trying to keep them all in an area that he can visit, I guess. So. It's amazing sometimes when you fix up a house thinking a family's going to move in, and then I'll have someone buy it with cash and turn it into a rental, and I'll be shocked,
We bought this house for $289, $350. Can you see the numbers? Could you see them all? Okay, and then you can see the rehab was $40. I break it down, my alarm, I break it down to everything, fire insurance. The fire insurance usually on my houses are for my period that I carry them are usually no more than like $400. The reason this house, my insurance, I call it fire, it's insurance plus my umbrella if anybody falls, because it had a pool and it was sitting by itself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
well,
so
that's one thing people should know is if you're doing a rehab, you've got to get the fire and liability insurance, and it will cost, often like $1,500 for those 6 months. And you can get some money back at the end, but it's not like your normal homeowners. They won't give you that kind of insurance on a vacant home. So,
Janice, and our tours that we give and things like that, you'll be so funny. What's the first thing you do for this house? You put insurance on it, because escrow, when you're buying a house cash, they don't care if you have insurance on it. If you're buying a house and funding it through the bank, they do.
Right.
So one of the things that people, don't realize.
And forget.
So anyways, at the end of the day, after taxes and everything, it was a $39,884, almost $40,000 profit. We went over on our budget, $10,000. Now remember something. If and I took like I said, 15%. I went over. I said around that's approximately 15. So if people aren't aware of what's going on, they got to be careful. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I liked that. It was in red there. You showed your overage that you'd already calculated at least 5,000 for overage.
Right. You have to.
If you don't use it, it's profit, and if you do, you're still ahead of the game.
Correct.
Correct. One of the things that people have to be careful now is what a lot of people did is they bought houses really cheap in the downturn, and they wound up putting granite. What they did is they upgraded, let's say 2 years ago, and they might have the granite. And when you go buy a house today, you really can't build that house and compete with the guy that did it 2 years ago because of labor costs. So you're really going to have to pay attention and put the money where you're going to get the bang for the buck. And that's what you really have to be careful, because when you go out and look at your competition, you have to realize when did they buy it, what did they pay for, what the cost is, and you have to come close to those numbers. But if they did it was a rental for a couple of years and it comes under, granted, so on and so forth, be careful when you comp it out or when you're going to rehab in that area, because what's going to happen, you might be rehabbing to something that was done 2 years ago. The costs are different. So you really have to analyze your product and cut where you can to be able to offset some of the costs, so that way you can get more profit. That way you can go to the next deal.
And they got to remember too, and all of you out there, if you're doing a rental and a flip, I know you're going to go into it, but later on down the line, as far as rentals, that's apples and oranges, two different costs. You know what I mean? You're looking at the highest value you can get to rental proofing a home, and you'll go over rental proofing a home. That's a whole different cost. I'm not putting these expensive mirrors and all this in the house. I'm rental proofing my home and putting most likely tile in every bedroom, because moving out in the carpet. So you can go over that. I understand it's easier to do a rental. I've done a flip. It's a rental. No, it's a rental. Flipping a home is buying it, selling it, and it is what it is. So
right. Well, you're flipping. What we've discussed mostly tonight is flipping to retail, and I know for Richard in Phoenix, he's done a lot of flipping to landlords. Correct. So even if you're not keeping it, you're flipping it to a landlord. You do the rehab in an entirely different way, and it costs you a lot less. But you've got to keep your costs down, or the landlord's not going to buy it.
Correct.
I mean, give you a good example. In Phoenix, I always wind up putting I always recommend doing the whole tile. You rent it out for 1 year, they destroy the carpet. First of all, we don't put padding, so we don't worry about that. But what happens is, if you replace the carpet, it costs us $1 a foot to lay down tile. That's what it costs us. $1.88 is what it costs us to lay it down. So I always tell people, I always put it in, because it only might cost you $600 more to go all tile versus carpet. The only issue, carpet is faster. You do all your tile, you put the carpet, you're ready to go. With tile, you got to do an extra 2 days. Set it, let it cure, grout it, and then you're ready to go. So that delays the process a couple of days. But I always, in a hot area, you always want to put tile because it's cooler. That's right. Why. And it's cost efficient, because if they trash it, just take a water hose and wash it down and squeeze it. There it is. Just paint the walls. There you go. You're ready.
Yeah, I call it broom ready. I mean, I had a condo in Honolulu, and I got tired of doing the carpet cleaning every time people would move out. It was just, it wasn't that dirty, but we'd clean it. And once I spent the $5,000, put the tile in, for 10 years, all we did was sweep it out. And so we could get a tenant in the very next day because we didn't have any downtime.
And one of the things people have to realize too is 99% of and unless you put it in the writings, they're going to sneak a dog into you or a cat in that house. So the urine spouts don't go away. I don't care what you say. You can clean it up, but that spot will come back.
Yeah, and then, like, for instance, I'm always an advocate of tile, like in Phoenix, because in Phoenix they have a big problem with bed bugs over there.
Oh yeah, that's nasty.
And they're I don't care if you spray it, means nothing. Once the spray goes away, the heat comes back, they hatch, and there you are. You have all your little fun friends out there.
I can tell that I'm going to have you guys back when we talk about rentals, because there'll be all kinds of nasty stuff we can talk about.
I can tell you something. I can tell you about a doghouse in San Diego, in Imperial Beach. The rehab after we were done were $150,000. The rehab. Wow. The house is worth, don't get me wrong, Richard, we went in it, we threw up in our mouths, excuse my, at least 10 times walking the property, but at the end of the day, it was a rental, a 5-bedroom, 5.
Oh, that's a big one.
I've Imperial Beach, where the sand castle events are and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And,
my husband was born there.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll tell you what. The tenant moved out, and she had 23 chow dogs. She breeded out of the every room. The dogs, as they were coming out of the house, didn't even see light. She had 16 puppies, 22 cats, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Oh gosh.
We got bit fleas. I can tell you more stories. So rentals, you got to be careful.
Yeah, that's a whole nother hangout. So we'll have to do that.
Okay,
That's a fun story.
Well, I'm going to do like my final word, and so I'll have you guys think of kind of a final nugget or tip that maybe we didn't cover, and then you can tell me a little bit about maybe your next event coming up.
Okay,
so,
great, thank you.
Think of a tip that you can give them that you maybe didn't cover, each of you.
Okay.
Go for it.
For me, go find a house and do it. But what you do is, what Janice does is a great service, because her line is always open. She'll guide you. You have to find someone that you can talk to, that you can trust. I know Janice is creating a platform to help everybody. I know Anthony has a passion to mentor people and help them along. Both Janice and Anthony like to doing that. Find a project, get involved, get good people around you. When you get in trouble, know who you can pick up the phone and talk to them and go for it. Watch your costs. Never be afraid to say, hey, I screwed up. What do I do? But don't come there, I screwed up, then you tell them what to do. Be open, and this is a great business. It's a hard business because there's so many moving parts.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as this is a good opportunity to make money and create wealth for your family and create a legacy. And whatever you do, buy rentals, because that's what's going to give you wealth. Flipping houses is a job, ultimately. Mm-hmm. But rentals are going to create the wealth. And there are strategies to that also, which Janice will wind up telling you. I can tell you horror stories. I've built huge portfolios for investors as well as myself, so I know all the pitfalls, and there's just some things that you must do and disciplines you must have to be able to keep what you have. So I just do real estate, listen to Janice,
listen to Anthony.
Call Anthony, me, I don't know. Call me if you actually can't. They can't answer, call me. But bottom line, these two are great people, and they're the ones you can follow.
Well, if we can't answer it, we'll ask you, and then we'll translate for them.
That's right. That's right.
My word of advice is, I know there's a lot of books and CDs and people on TV, and hey, I can teach you this and teach you this, but you can learn. You got to remember, real estate, it's like a doctor. A doctor learns, goes to schools and everything, and go operate. No, they have to intern. So if there's a way you can intern or somehow get into understanding and then building your team, then you're going to be very powerful, because real estate is not a tennis game. I'm sorry, it's a football field. It isn't. You know what I'm talking about? One, just me, me. No.
It's not just one-on-one, yeah.
No, it's a football game. You need everybody, all pieces working. This person not. At first, you need to go in like a, how can I tell you, like a corporal drill sergeant, trusting nobody, going through, being strict, and understanding, because you're going to lose money if you're not on top of your game. I've slacked before because I was speaking out at an event, and I came back, and my project was X amount more because, okay, go ahead. And I'm not listening because I'm worried about something. Yeah. And all of a sudden, it's like, what do you mean, Anthony, I called you right here, and you said yes. And it's like, oh, I did. I'm sorry, brother. But you know what? Next time,
I'll say no.
Say no. But at the end of the day is trust in the beginning. You're going to have to build the team, and it's if you get Janice on your team, or if she's listening to what she has, great. But everything Janice will teach you, something in her life it's happened to her or myself or Richard. So you better have structure. Like they say, knowledge is king. No, it isn't. You know, wait, I know how to drive a car, so does that mean I can get out and do Daytona tomorrow? No, I got to practice. But that's what people think. I buy CDs, I read this book, I can do it. But what is it, Janice? Is it 9 out of 10 investors are gone by the first year because because they thought they were going to make a $30,000 profit and they made $2,000? It wasn't worth it to them. And a lot of you that have jobs, do it sparingly. Flip a couple houses. Don't say, hey, I'm leaving my corporate job. I'm making $150,000 because I'm going to make millions buying and selling real estate. You know what? It'll happen eventually. But think about it. 37 flips at $30,000 a month. Excuse me, $30,000 per flip. And then you have taxes and everything. So my thing is, word of advice, listen to these shows that Janice is putting on. Yeah. Everything that comes out of her mouth, it's happened to her. It's happened to me. It's happened to Richard. I love real estate. Look where I am. I'm in my office right now. But at the end of the day is, hey, you know what? I'm tired. I go to bed, and it's a great job. So, again, make sure you build your team before you follow your dream. That's my word of advice.
Oh, I love that. Build your team before you follow your dream. And yes, you made a good point I hadn't thought of before about cars. Just because you can drive a car doesn't mean you'll never have an accident, okay? So just because you think, well, I know how to flip a house, doesn't mean there'll ever be a deal where you don't lose money. It's the average, that happens over time. So you can be a perfect driver, but you still may have an accident, and that's kind of what happens when you lose money on one house, right?
And I tell, and one more thing, if I can say, be a locomotive train, because you know what, that locomotive train, if it falls off the track, probably 90% of those cars can get back on that track. But if you're going to try to be that 200 missile going on those tracks and you fall, you're wiped out and you're done. And most likely your whole real estate career and all the money that you worked hard for and you saved for your children, it's gone. So don't always think every deal's a deal. Hey, I need to close by Friday. I need to wire in the money, blah, blah, blah. If someone's telling you that, they're desperate.
Yeah.
Don't be that desperate person to get a deal. You need to go to the city, make sure things are permitted. So, like I said, again, you need to build your team to follow your dream, and it's very important.
Yeah, yeah. And that's a really good point. We were trying to buy a 10-plex a few months ago, and the guy really wanted us to close fast. And I said, you don't close a commercial deal fast. You need to do a lot of looking into it, pricing, and you got to talk to the city, figure out, what kind of permits you need, what's been happening. And he really wanted to close fast. He wanted to get the money in by a certain date, and we ended up backing out of the deal. And he was upset, and we said, well, first of all, the due diligence was on your time schedule, not ours. So it was going way too fast for what a commercial deal would be. But it was a smaller deal, and we thought it might work. So do your due diligence, but don't be afraid. I mean, there's been other houses that we walked away from because, we just canceled the escrow and the deal wasn't going to work because we discovered something that was going to cost way too much based on the offer. And the same thing with this 10-plex. He wouldn't take a lower offer once we laid out the cost for him. He just wanted to argue and say, well, it's not really going to cost that much. You don't really have to change those things. Well, in our business model, we do, so we're not buying it.
Here's something, a little side note. I was with my banker the other day, and he was telling me that an individual bought an apartment complex in Bakersfield. And what happened, the guy did an owner carry. Notice coming due in about a year. Nobody is making loans in apartments in Bakersfield. He's screwed.
He can't finance out of it.
He cannot finance out, and nobody wants to go there because for whatever reason, that's not where they want to be. Because I don't care how they do redline. I don't care what anyone says. We don't. Yes, you do. You just make it a little tougher to qualify. So that guy and my bankers with a large bank says we can't do it, and I call 5 of my brokers. We won't touch anything out there. Period. Wow. We were looking at a house in Barstow that I could steal. Can't get financing. Like, forget it. I'm done. So it's changing. So you got to check what you're doing if you're going to play out of the area. There's a lot of things that fall into play. and we were just a simple rehab. But anyway,
Right.
thank you for inviting us, Janice. It was good again seeing you, and I think you're doing a phenomenal job helping people, because a lot of people need good people, and you happen to be one of the good people out there that really genuinely care and want to see people create their own wealth and have a legacy for their family.
And you're doing deals.
I'm doing deals.
And you're doing deals because a lot of people out there that are speaking the walk aren't walking the walk. So because they're more profitable on different ends.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have to say any more, Janice. You understand what I'm saying, and I'm sure a lot of people. But she's doing deals. She can show you projects. We can show you projects, what's going on. I mean, we're not dressed in suits right now. We're dressed in our, you know, because anywhere we get a chance, we buy houses for cash. It's on the back of my car. I think I have it shaved in the back of Richard's head. He'll turn around and show you right now. But, you know, it's tattooed.
There's no hair back there. It's tattooed back there.
But at the end of the day, we're always, hey, you know what, if you pull into a gas station, you know, someone's always losing their home, their brother going through a divorce, or something's always happening. So you got to advertise too. That's another word of advice.
All right. Well, thank you guys for being interviewed. I really enjoyed having you and sharing you with my audience. And that is a good point to make. If you're going to be mentored by someone, make sure it's someone who's actually in the field doing deals, because they know what can happen. They know the costs. It's not some old knowledge that's being recycled and sent to you. So let me put up my little sign here that can show you this is how you can follow us and find more of our Hangouts. We do the Hangout on Thursday night at 6 p.m. There's training, guest speakers, and Q&A, and we just mix it up different weeks. You can find me at that website, and I also am on Facebook. wisewealthuniversity.com is on Facebook, and it's also a page on Google+. I also post on Twitter. You can follow me at The Pink Professor, and you'll see posts there that tell you when the next Hangout is and also what the topic is for the week. And I'm going to switch now back to Anthony and Richard. They're going to show you when their next upcoming educational tour is.
Hey, Janice, thank you very much. I appreciate this. We have a bus tour February 20th through the 22nd. And check this out, Janice, where we have it at. We have it at Keller Williams in Rancho Cucamonga. They have over 179 agents there. Keller Williams in Rancho Cucamonga asked me, hey, you know, we know you give tours. We know you're an upbeat guy and you're honest. Hey, why don't you give your tours here instead of a hotel? Because you can promote us. Keller Williams is nationwide. And I believe, and I use a lot of their agents, and a lot of my agents train there, Richard. So at the end of the day, you can see, Richard, this is the bus we get into. And I'm not one of those people that take 3 or 4 buses. I have one bus, because you know what? Right there is a great enough group to learn. When you get out of hand 2 or 3 buses, I've done that before. It just seems like people are fighting, get on one bus and the other. The bottom line is, it's the first, I think we have 30, 40 seats. No, excuse me, the first 42, we already have people signed up, but what I'm saying is, you know, we try to get all the people on the bus, so we're talking and as we're driving through the neighborhoods. So on Friday, you're going to learn how to build your team, and you can use anybody who's in this area or in the LA area or San Diego. We bring everybody there, and you can take them and learn them, and we'll help you get a realtor. Secondly, we'll bring termite, we'll bring escrow, we'll bring title, we'll bring everything for your first time people that are wanting to learn. For your time investors, we'll show you how to get your power team. Like I said, you need to build a team before your dream. Secondly, on Saturday, you'll go see our projects that we're doing. We have gifts that will say, okay, who could come closest without going over to the nearest penny? We have teams, Team A, Team Brody, Team Richard, Team Anthony, Team whoever you have, and you get a team, and then you come back and we show you how to make offers, not at 50 cents on the dollar in California. You know that doesn't work. We show you how to make a sensible offer. We'll show you what happens if we make a bad offer, what the realtors say. So there's realtors you can actually talk to, people like that. Everybody you need to know about real estate. So it's really great for that first-time investor. You can go online. You can go to reiroadmap.com to sign up, and if you put capital B and for Brody, that's BRODY1, we'll give you off $100 because you were on this on this webinar tonight. So again, that's for you. And then if they want to, they can call you, Janice, and then you can take care of it either way you want. But they're more than welcome to come. I think we have 11 seats left. It's February 20th through the 22nd at in Rancho Cucamonga at Keller Williams. And again, I feel like, hey, title's right there, escrow, I'm doing it there. So they're, hey, we're upbeat people. And you know as well as I do, Janice, you know us for a while. We're here to educate because we like to give back. And at the end of the day, we will partner with you, we'll venture with you. And a lot of times what ends up happening, people say, hey, Anthony, Richard, why do you do this? Because check this out. If I show you, guess who brings me deals? A lot of the people that were on my class, because they know what happens. So it's another way of marketing for us and teaching what we want. So again, it's February 20th through the 22nd in Rancho Cucamonga. There's our phone number. You can call and get for more details, and then we'll have another one 45 days. We have them every 45 days. So at the end of the day, again, thank you for letting us promote our bus tour, and it would be worthwhile for you.
So Anthony, if I can't make the February one, if I go to reiroadmap.com, can I sign up for the next one?
Yes, actually, after you'll be able to sign up after we get this one filled. You'll be able to sign up for the next one next week. Because what's happening is we got to make sure Keller Williams isn't having their teaching, so they're going to give us a date because we're always giving them there. So they always let us have that date because it's more important for them. Because a lot of times Richard and I just go and we'll help teach a few realtors, and then they do a lot of training. That to keep up on today's market and everything that's going on. So we will know by the actually next Friday, Richard? Yeah. Next Friday when our next one is. But usually what we try to get them is every 45 to 48 days.
Excellent, excellent. I know I've heard you train before, so I know that you're going to give your all on that weekend, and you guys will get the best training that you could ever hope for. And Anthony, you did show us that you can wear a suit, although I know you're in very practical clothes when you go around to all your rehabs.
You know what? It's so funny. It's because don't forget again. I help Realty 411. I'm actually their co-host this year, and I do a lot of things with them. And that actually was at Bruce Norris, one of our one of the people that we look up to. That's Bruce Norris's event this year.
Oh, right. Everyone has to wear a suit. Yeah.
Yeah. So at Bruce Norris's, you better wear a suit. So that's actually. We always go listen to him because he's from Riverside. He really knows what's going on in this area. And again, everybody needs a mentor, somebody they look up to, and that guy is just, to me, is one of the top geniuses around this area, and he's always predicting stuff good. But what I'm trying to get at is, hey, I'm always looking at the guy who's above me. You know what I mean? And
well, he's a mentor to the mentors.
Yeah, exactly. He's the guru of the gurus. And I don't even think he knows his things, and he loves what he does. And so I have much respect for the man. So at the end of the day, we're always listening. But that was at his event. I survived Real Estate 2014. And it was, I believe, in November. So, again, I want to say thank you a lot. And again, for everyone who's going to be new or who's trying to go into the next level, hey, just take your time and steady and slow. But, it'll come to you. And once that first deal comes, the second deal will come, and they'll keep coming. But remember, be careful what you ask for, because flipping 37 houses or doing 100 homes at one time, it becomes a job. And it's 8:19 and we're still in my office, and Richard and I still have another 2 hours to go today. So, and Richard has another 3 hours to drive home. So at the end of the day, realistically, just be careful what you ask for, because flipping 1 or 2 homes with a regular job you'll do very well in life too. But
absolutely,
don't be greedy in this business.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing all your knowledge. You have a combined knowledge of 50 years of experience, and you shared it with everyone tonight and been very generous with your time. Thank you all for coming. We will have another hangout next Thursday night, and I look forward to seeing everyone. You can have a great night, and we'll see you next Thursday.
All right, James. Thank you very much. Take it easy.
Bye.